All right. I think everything's working. I think we're live now. Let's get disclaimers out of the way. We'll jump right into it. This is the weekly live broadcast, pretty much every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. This is where I am. You can get in here and ask me your questions or just chit chat or whatever you want to do. We'll talk about pretty much whatever anybody wants to talk about. I don't have topics planned out. I just kind of follow the live chat as it comes along, do my best to respond to all the chat that's going on there, unless you're talking to each other. Sometimes I just skip over those and let you have your own conversations. Doesn't bother me. It's all good. Only things I ask: be polite, be family friendly, don't start being hateful, rude, cussing at us, any of those kinds of things. We'll have to kick you out. But other than that, everything else is pretty much free game. So let's jump into it. We've got so much joy here. Says hello, Chris. Finally remembered just in time that you live stream on Thursdays. LOL. Have been a great help. You've been a great help as I set up my own rabbitry. Thank you so much. Had kits born the day before Easter. Well, awesome. Congratulations on that. I'm glad that I could help. I'm glad that you found the videos helpful. Thank you for watching them, and congratulations on your new rabbits. And there's Verna. Verna's here. Says, hey, Chris, glad to see you. Third like, but first one here tonight. You're always the first one here, aren't you? And I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. And then there's some back and forth with you guys. Hey, there's Buck Reynolds. Says, hello, everyone. So Much Joy says they're Tamuk rabbits. They did very well in the heat last year. I haven't had any Tamuks, but I've heard that they do incredibly well in the heat. Verna says the ones born in the heat will be the ones that can take the heat. Yeah, well, could be, yeah. Verna says you can make any breed heat tolerant, breeding them in the heat. Well, I guess that's possible. I mean, they will adapt over time to it. You're right. We got Dawn from South Central Illinois. Good to see you. So Much Joy says, I love my Tamuk rabbits. Have 5 that I will always keep even after I retire them. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that either. Let's see. I'm going to skip a few. Dawn says, no more thumbs up on YouTube. And Verna's saying you have to refresh the page to see the thumbs up. I see 12 in here right now. We got 21 people, 12 thumbs ups. That's pretty good. Hey, there's Buster. Good to see you. Blessed with Pets. Good to see you too. Billy Glass. Hello. Oh, I skipped too much. Got to find where I'm at. All right, there we go. So and Tear says hello from Gilroy, California. I hope everyone's doing well and all the storms avoided people. Yeah, we didn't. We had some rain yesterday, but it wasn't storms. It was just rain. I actually saw somebody at work. We have a little courtyard right outside the building. It's kind of between two little sections of the building, if that makes sense. Just a little courtyard kind of thing. And they were planting tomatoes and peppers yesterday. And I happened to be outside for a minute and was like, what are you guys planting? And they planted other stuff too, some herbs and things like that, which would probably be fine. But they were putting in peppers and tomatoes. And I was like, it's a little too early for those things. I said, yeah. And they kind of looked at me and I said, yeah, we're still a week away from our average last frost date. Usually I'm not planting out until like Mother's Day weekend, somewhere right around in there. It's just a little too early for those heat loving plants like tomatoes and peppers. And wouldn't you know it, tonight we're supposed to get down to 38 degrees. I'm afraid that they're probably not going to make it. But anyway, we'll see. Jacob Wolf says, hello, all my baby bunnies are a week and a day old now. I can't wait to see them all open their eyes. They should be, probably opening them already. In a week and a day, they're getting real close if they haven't. Fat Country from Riverview, Florida. Good to see you. A bunch of people saying hello to each other, which is all good. So Much Joy says, my bunnies just climbed out of their nesting box today. Yeah, that's pretty common. Somewhere about 10 days old, roughly, they tend to start crawling out of the nest box. I always pick them up, put them back in for the first couple of days, and then after that, they're usually able to get in and out on their own, and I don't worry about it too much. Blessed with Pets says, I have a doe building a nest. I'm seriously going to tear up. I'm praying she has a successful litter. I haven't had a litter since March 2023 with well over 40 failed breedings. I remember hearing all about that. Good luck. I hope she has a good, successful breeding or litter as well. Tony's got a hard last name, Galano. I don't know if I got it right or not. I don't know what it is. But either way, good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Andy says, hey, everybody, don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, we're up to 17 likes now. We're good. Don says, under the YouTube video are 2 columns of other videos, and it continues down the page. No thumbs up. What? You lost me on that one, Don. I'm not sure what you're talking about. There are 2 columns of other videos, and it continues down the page. No thumbs up. I don't know what. I'm sorry. I'm lost on that. I don't know what that means exactly, but we've got Don Skin says hello from South Mississippi. Good to see you. So much Joy says, I feel like such a newbie joining all of y'all. Experienced rabbit people, haven't even butchered my first litter yet. Hey, everybody's got to start somewhere. It's all good. And it's going to be good. You're going to be an experienced rabbiter before long. I mean, you got a litter already, so you're already way ahead of a lot of people. Don't worry about it. You're welcome here. Chris says, greeting everyone. Good to see you again. I hope everyone is well and healthy. We're doing well here. Hopefully you are too. Rock Finish says hello from Texas. I raise California, New Zealand's, and Rexes. Awesome. Well, hopefully they're all doing well down there in Texas. I know it can get pretty hot there, but honestly, it gets pretty hot here too. It just it's not as hot as long, but it gets just as hot here. So they'll do fine, I'm sure. Chris Mason says, question, Chris, are the chicks doing in the outside brooder? Yeah, they're doing fine, actually. I haven't lost a single one yet. I got them down to about 90 degrees on the temperature, but it's gotten actually colder than that because we had a couple of cool nights, and I took all the paper towels out and the covers off the brooder, so it's just the wire floor and the wire top, and they're doing fine, though. I know it's gotten down probably in the mid 80s, at least a little while. But they're doing fine. Haven't lost a single one. They're growing, starting to feather out a little bit now, so it won't be long. They'll be outside to the chicken tractors. So, and Tara says, I put a brick outside as a step so they can get back in and set any of them I find outside on top on the steps so I know they can get back in. Well, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I never mess with it. I just figure they're going to find their way in and out of it. I mean, like I said, it's just usually like 2 days, maybe 3 days at the most, where I'm picking them up, putting them back in the nest box, and then they're fine after that. Buster wants to know, Verna, if you're getting storms. I saw there were some storms moving that way. We had them come through yesterday, but again, it wasn't really stormy. It was just rain, really. So much Joy says, I'm in Texas. Have Tamuk rabbits. Talking to Rockfish. I think, yeah, Rockfish. There we go. Had a hard time seeing that. I need to get some new glasses. I need to go get my eyes checked. I'm starting to have a little bit of a hard time reading things that I back up, and I can't back up too far. I got to look through the bottom because of progressive lenses and all that. But anyway, neither here nor there. Jacob Wolf says, does anyone have any recommendations on a scale to weigh rabbits? I was thinking of a postage scale, but my vet office uses a baby scale. I don't know that it really matters, honestly. Any scale, it depends on how precise you want to be. Pretty much any scale is going to work. I don't usually weigh my rabbits, but I did it with put them in I had a bag, and I put them in it was like not a canvas, but like a shopping bag type thing, reusable one, one of those. Set them in there and used a hanging fish scale one time to weigh them. I've done that. You can put them in a box on a postage scale, however you want to do it. I don't know that I don't have a great suggestion for a really good scale necessarily, but I don't know that you have to go really high dollar. I think you can get away with just about anything. Don says, Chris, there is no spot for the like or thumbs up button. Right under your face is 2 columns of other videos. All of YouTube has been that way since yesterday. Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. There's no spot for you to hit a thumbs up. It's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It's all good. I don't know. You must be watching on a phone probably. I'm guessing, because I don't know. I don't have that problem. Two columns. That's weird. I've never seen 2 columns of videos, but either way, it's okay. If you don't hit the like button, it's all right. It doesn't hurt my feelings. You're okay. Someone Tara says, I suppose to proceed rabbits to wait. I was supposed to process rabbits Tuesday. Probably won't happen until the weekend though. Verna says, Buster, they have gone around. Oh, the storms have gone around you. So Terry, you were supposed to process them, but didn't get it done. Was there a reason you didn't get it done, or was it just didn't get to it? It had too many other things going on. If that's the case, I get it. I always have too many other things going on. Chris Mason says, once we get settled in raising quail, I will set up. What was that? Hang on a second. Something popped up on the computer, but everything changed on me for a second. It was weird. Okay, there we go. Chris Mason says, I don't care about these updates right now. Okay. Chris Mason says, once we get settled into raising quail, I want to set up a tractor and raise Cornish crosses. Your video was really helpful. Thank you. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that it was helpful. They're pretty easy to raise, really not hard at all. The only problem I'm going to have is, like I said, I got too many. I got 40, and that tractor really about 30 is about as many as I want to push in that. Really probably more like 25 is about right. But we'll see how it goes. I may end up selling a few of them off or something. I don't know. Blessed with Pet says, I usually turn the nest box on its side. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people do that. Again, I don't really mess with it. Don says, so in Terra, I'm using Firefox as the browser. I've always used it. It's messed up. Pushing other videos is what they're doing. So Firefox, I haven't used Firefox in years. I always use Chrome. I switched from, I used Firefox, but that's been 15 years ago, probably a long time ago. Chris Mason says, question, my daughter saw our quail and wants to raise button quail. Can you recommend a channel with good info or good breeder to purchase eggs? I really don't know. I've seen a little bit about button quail. I know what they are, but it's never been something I've been totally interested in. So I don't know of a good channel that raises button quail that could give you a lot. They're pretty much the same as any other bird, really. That's just the same concepts apply, except for they're much, much smaller. Now, as far as a breeder goes, I really don't know of a breeder for button quail either. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. Somebody else might, though. We'll see what they say. Blessed with Pet says, once they start jumping in and out, that's when you turn the nest box on the side. That makes sense. So Much Joy says, I would like to build a tractor, like a chicken tractor, to grow out my feeders. Would like them to be in the fresh air and grass. Would be great for them. Can move it every few days. Talking about the rabbits, I think. Yeah, you're going to have to. The thing, if you're going to raise rabbits in a tractor, you're probably going to have to put a wire floor on the bottom because they'll dig out. That would be the only thing I would worry about with them. But other than that, go ahead and try it and see how it works. You may not have problems with them digging out, especially if you're moving it pretty frequently, probably more than every couple of days. But that would be the issue that I would be worried about. Rockfish says, so much joy. I've been looking for a Tamuk, buck, and doe. Do you have any to sell? I looked for some for a while and never could find any. So I just gave up and got the silver fox. S.S. Swanson says, greeting from Mississippi Delta. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. So Terry says, time and too many things to do. That's why you didn't get them processed. Hey, I get it. That happens to me all the time. Don says, I've not used Google as a browser ever. Yeah, that's what I use, Google Chrome. The nice thing about it is, what I do like about Google Chrome, the Chrome browser, is that, you sign in to Google or whatever, you can sign into it. And then no matter where you go, if you pull up the browser and sign in, all your favorites, all your links, all that stuff's there. So it's pretty nice to be able to have that stuff all easily accessible. Verna says, to Katrina, I have the same problem. I have four more to process, but when hooks come in, so did all the rain. Oh, when my hooks came in, so did all the rain. Your hooks. What hooks are we talking about? So Tara says, supposed to be rain this weekend here. We're actually supposed to have a really nice weekend, and then we got storms coming in Monday, Tuesday. So we'll see how it goes. So Tara says, Feathered Connections has them. I don't know if she sells them. Talking about button quail, I'm assuming. I didn't even think about that. I bet she does. So Much Joy says that just had 7 inches of rain in 2 days. Wow, that's a lot. Oh, and Verna's saying the Feathered Connections can't ship out of state because of MPIP. Don says button quail breeders would be Bryant's Roost, sells and ships live chicks, and maybe ships eggs. I think I would go with eggs over live chicks. Quail don't typically ship very well live, I don't think. But, I may be wrong on that one. S.O. Swanson says, Kelly at Feather Connection raises quail. She's in Utah. She'd be a good source for questions. That's true. And, if you're going to QuailCon this year, I bet she's going to be there. You might be able to, if you can get in touch with her, then you might be able to set up something and work it out that way. I don't know. So Much Joy says, I was thinking about a foot of wire inside around the perimeter. Oh my goodness, there's a super chat. We'll get to that one right next. I was thinking maybe a foot of wire inside the perimeter. Then the very center would have grass. Yeah, I think I don't know if that would work or not, because they're going to dig, and they're going to dig under a foot of wire. I mean, unless it's underground, they're going to dig under it probably. But if you put wire across the whole thing, they can still get to the grass. The grass is going to poke up through the wire, and it doesn't have to be like super tiny mesh. I mean, you can use pretty wide wire, pretty wide squares, if that makes sense. Just big enough they can't fit through to dig out, All right, so we got a super chat, a $5 super chat from Rabbit Homesteading. He says, hey, my friends, I can't watch, but wanted to say hi to everyone. Slightly Rednecked has great knowledge and information. Well, thank you so much for that. That was very kind of you. I appreciate that. Berna says, the hook so I can hand my rabbits to process since it's too hard on the counter when I want to keep the hides. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So like a gambrel, basically. I don't use hooks. I just tie them up. I just use slip knots and around their feet, tie them up, hang the string over a nail or something. But yeah, whatever works. Jacob says, I love the incognito mode on Chrome. That way my girlfriend can't see all the animals I look at all the time or all the things that I look for sale on Facebook Marketplace, LOL. Yeah, I never used the incognito mode, but I'm sure that it would be helpful for that. So Much Joy says, I would like to save the rabbit hides. Not sure exactly how it's done, though. Would like to line mittens for the winter. I've thought about doing that before. I've just never really got into it. And the one thing about rabbits is, now it would probably work fine for that, but excuse me, let me grab a drink. When you're processing them, like 8 to 12 weeks, like we do for like meat rabbits, the hides are really not that high quality at that point. It would probably work fine, like I said, for like lining your mittens or something like that, if that's what you want to use it for. But a lot of people think about like selling the hides, and they're not really that valuable because they're not really high quality. They're pretty much just like craft and kind of that kind of purpose hides. You can look up some videos on how to like tan them out. It's not really that difficult. You can just, flesh them out and salt them basically. If you wanted to, you could do it that way, or you can actually tan them. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. I'm not necessarily an expert on it, but it's not really that difficult. It can be done. Just look up a couple of videos on how to do it. I don't have a video on it because I don't do it. But Clifton says, good evening, everyone. Question, we set our quail eggs and forgot to plug the turners in. Didn't realize till the next morning. Will they be okay? Yeah, they'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Honestly, what was I going to say? Honestly, you could, you don't have to turn them all that often. You don't even need a turner. You could just once or twice a day get in there and kind of roll them around a little bit, and you'll be fine. If they went 2-3 days even without being turned, it's going to be fine. Don't stress about it. You're going to be okay. So Much Joy says, true. Thanks, Chris. I'm not sure what the true was about. Was it about the wire floor? Anyway, either way, whatever it was about, you're welcome. Don says to Clifton Buck, yes, they will be fine. I had my turner turn off with a power flicker once, and they were fine. You don't have to use an egg turner either. No, you don't need to. It's best practice, and it's easier to use an egg turner because you don't have to manually do it. It just makes it kind of automatic, but it's really not that big of a deal. Rabbit Homesteading says, I need to go hopefully next week. Well, you have a good evening. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Let's see. Verna says, that's why I wait until 4 or 5 months. 4 or 5. Oh, to process your rabbits for better hides. Yeah, 4 or 5 months might be slightly better. But I don't want to feed rabbits out that long, but that's just me. So Much Joy says, okay, I'll look it up. Yeah, if I had a recommendation for exactly one to watch, I'd give you one, but I don't really. I've seen several videos on them. I know they're out there. I just don't have a specific one to point you to, unfortunately. Rick says, I set my quail eggs in the incubator on Easter, but I will be leaving the 18th, back the 21st. I'm leaving the incubator with the neighbor. I will have a brooder ready, food, water. What other information? Well, that's pretty much, I mean, make sure the neighbor knows not to just open the incubator up right away as soon as they start hatching. Make sure that they wait until they're dry and fluffy. At least 24 hours, right at 24 hours is usually good. When they do open it up to get the birds out, get all of them you can out as quick as you can, not overly rushed, but, don't piddle, get them all out, get them in the brooder, close the incubator back up and leave it and see if the morning will hatch out, because you'll probably get more hatching in the next couple of days. Those would be the things I'd tell them. Most times when people are incubating for the first time, they just get too anxious. They think, oh, I got to get them out and get them fed right now. They can go like 48, they can go 72 hours without being fed. But really, I like to do about 24 roughly. Make sure they're all dry and fluffy. There's none of them that are wet or anything like that. And they should be fine. Rick says, would be important to tell them while they enjoy some eggs hatch. What other information would be important to tell them while they enjoy some eggs hatch? Okay, that's pretty much my advice on it. You can point them to my videos if you want. I got a whole video series on improving your hatch and hatching eggs, so you can point them to that. Let them watch that first if you want, but honestly, it's not that difficult. You can probably tell them that. S.O. Swanson says the same thing, basically. Just tell them not to open and remove unless they are fluffy and dried off. Fully dried off, that's what he says. But yeah. Clifton says, thanks, y'all. I was worried. Yeah, no problem. It's easy to worry about things like that, but really it's not that finicky. So you'll be fine. There's Silver Creek Wildlife. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. So Much Joy says, yes. When we ordered meat chickens in the mail, I learned that they don't need to eat or drink the first 3-ish days of life. Yeah, they're fine. They're honestly just fine. Now, they will eat and drink. You give them access to it, but they can go without it. It's going to be fine. Rick says, thank you very much. You're absolutely welcome. There's Chris Mason says, hey, I was nervous for the first time hatching eggs, had a Wi-Fi camera on them so I could watch while I was at work. Yeah, the first time or two you do it, you kind of nerd out on it, and you really focus. And then after that, after a while, you're just like, whoa, I almost forgot to take them out of the egg turner and put them in lockdown. And you just kind of forget it. It just kind of becomes easier after that. Blessed with Pets says, I now have 6 baby goats. I went a little crazy. Yeah, 6 of them. That's a little bit overkill, isn't it? I like goats, but 6 of them, that's a lot of them. So Much Joy says, that's why we let our hens go broody. That's why. I'm not sure. I'm missing out. Why do you let your hens go broody? I don't know. And we're talking chicken hens, right? Not quail, because quail very seldom, if ever, go broody. Jan says, hello, Chris and everyone, from Joe and Jan Steffi of Indiana with the best viewing of the eclipse. Well, awesome. We had, I forgot about that. We didn't talk about the eclipse at all, did we? So yeah, they bought it. They got a whole bunch of eclipse glasses at work, and we all got to go outside and look at the eclipse. And it was interesting. We only got like 95%. I mean, it was real close to 100, but it wasn't quite 100%. But it was still kind of cool to see. Something you just don't get to see very often. Blessed with Pets says they go through a ton of milk formula. LOL. Yeah, I bet they do. So and Tara says quail go broody in a aviary setting. Yeah, well, that's true. They can go broody in an. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying it's rare that they go broody. And you're right. In an aviary, in a more natural setting, they will go broody. I have not ever seen anybody that had real good success with it. You may be. I don't know. I haven't seen I haven't seen that's happened yet. I'm just saying most of the time when they do go broody, they're not super successful with hatching, with high hatch rates and things like that. But prove me wrong. You may have had much better success than that. So and Tara says got 48% in California. Yeah, we've had some eclipses before that were like that. But we got like 95%. I mean, it was like there was just a sliver of the sun still showing. We didn't get the whole, what do they call it? The corona effect, because it wasn't completely covered, but it was close. So Interior says, I had 2 nests hatch. Most of the time they don't brood the whole time though. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is it they can go broody, but even when they do, it's not usually real successful. Blessed with Pets says my Quaker parrots are breeding like crazy. Well, that's probably good, isn't it? Hopefully you get to hatch some of those out. I guess Quaker parrots could be probably pretty profitable, wouldn't they? So Much Joy says, sorry, just meant that we let our chickens hatch their own chicks so we don't have to worry about the eggs in the incubator. Yeah, with chickens, it makes sense. I get it. But I don't know. With quail, yeah, you're better off hatching them yourself. TM said, did the eclipse affect your animals? Well, I don't think so. I was at work. As far as I know, it did not. I was no real impact on them from anything I could see. Silver Creek Aquatics says, oh man, we got to see stars during the middle of the day here. I got so dark, absolutely stunning sight, unforgettable, and many other adjectives. Yeah, I kind of wish it was total. I mean, it didn't get dark enough. I mean, it got darkish. Kind of like, it felt like it was weird. It felt like a storm, like because it kind of cooled off a little bit. It got kind of dark, but just like when a storm rolls in and it, darkens the sky, it kind of felt like that. But it wasn't stormy out, so it was weird. So Much Joy says, we saw the eclipse here in Texas. So amazing, 100% totality. Yeah, I'm kind of jealous we didn't get that much. Silver Creek Wildlife says, my birds were sounding off like crazy. The dog, quail, pigeon, chickens, guinea. LOL, it was like a jungle. I can imagine if you got total eclipse. We only got 95%, like I said, so it didn't get really all that dark. It still was plenty light out. But yeah, I don't think it. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't home to see them, but I don't think there was any kind of anything really going crazy from the quail. You got something? Huh? You had to look at something. Sorry, got distracted there for a minute. Blessed with Pets says, yeah, they can go about $800 a bird if I can find buyers. If not, the pet store buys them for $400. They can have 3 to 8. Well, awesome. Still $400 a bird. That's a pretty good price. So Much Joy says, we were at my grandma's house, so not sure how the animals reacted. I'm sure if it went totally dark, it did freak them out a little bit. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't really that dark here, so I doubt that there was really much of an impact on them. Didn't impact my egg laying. I'm still getting as many eggs. Still got so many, the next couple of days. Andy says, when processing your quail, what's your opinion on letting the meat rest in the refrigerator a couple of days before putting them in the freezer? It's an absolute must, in my opinion. Yeah, anything you're processing, it doesn't matter what animal it is, you need to let it rest until rigor mortis leaves the meat. And it needs to be kept cool, whether that's in the refrigerator. I like to dry age. I don't like to soak my meat in, a lot of people will say soak it in salt water. Any of those, I think that's terrible practice. I wouldn't do that. I mean, if you want to, go ahead, but I don't do that. So if I was going to put it in like a cooler on ice, I'd probably put it in like plastic bags or put, something, a barrier between the ice and the meat so that it doesn't, when it melts, it's not sitting in water. I want it dry whenever I'm aging the meat. But yeah, you need to keep it cool, whether that be like an ice chest with some ice packs or, something like that, or the refrigerator or whatever. A couple of days until rigor mortis leaves, and then you're safe to go ahead and freeze it or whatever. If you don't, you're going to see. Sorry, I got distracted there again. If not, you're going to have problems with it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be chewy. It's not going to be right. Silver Creek Aquatics says, Andy in Shishita, I don't know what that is, kosher slaughter. They let them drain with salt around them. Yes. Okay. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that process, but yeah. There you go. Silver Creek Aquatics says, yep, all the rigors got to drain off. Yep, I agree. TM says, I would like to see how the eclipse affected any solar panels just for fun. So, well, I mean, I'm not sure how you would expect it to affect them, but I mean, it's a period of darkness. So the solar panels are not getting sun, so they're not going to be producing electricity, but then they are again as soon as the sun comes back out. I mean, it's just like a super cloudy day or nighttime or whatever. It's not really going to have a major impact on them. Blessed with Pets says, I believe a Tractor Supply worker was flirting with me today. That's a first for me. Well, congratulations, I guess. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Soratier says 3.5 days for rabbits is what I've found. 3.5 days. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Rabbits do take a little bit longer. I usually let them go a week because I usually process on the weekend and then I just leave them in the fridge for a week and then take care of them the next weekend. But, you know, at least 3 days for sure is what it would take. Chris says, inside track at Tractor Supply, I'm in. Silver Creek said it would be equivalent to moonlight. It's called 0-point radiation or reflective radiation, all off of the sun. Okay. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but TM wants to know if you flirted back. We'll find out, huh? Silver Creek says that's why the shadows were crazy as well, because of the reflection of light from the moon into the planet. Oh, okay. I didn't notice any crazy shadows. It was just kind of crazy in the. There we go. Blessed with Pets says, I don't know. He asked how old I was. Took a slight step back when he heard 16. Oh, Silver Creek says onto the planet. Okay, yeah, I knew what you meant by that, but Blessed with Pets says, I mean, I talked to him. I don't know how to flirt. Okay. Well, I'm not going to give you lessons, but it's not my deal either. And we're out of comments all of a sudden. How are we doing on time? We got 30 minutes left. We need more chat to keep me busy. I don't think anything else exciting happened this week. There was the Eclipse. And TM says, just joking. Nothing else. I mean, you know, we got the chickens going. The chickens are doing great. The quail are doing fine. The rabbits are doing okay. I mean, no issues there. Everything's doing fine. No big issues from the Eclipse. Everything went fine. So much joy says we had lambs born a few weeks ago. So precious. Yeah, young lambs are cute. And you're raising a few rams for meat. Nice. Well, young lambs, you know, they are cute. They're definitely one of the cutest animals out there, but I'm not sure. I've never raised sheep or anything like that, but everything I've seen about sheep is they're incredibly stupid and look for ways to kill themselves. So hopefully yours go well. Blessed with Pets says, I'm excited for the chicken swap this weekend. Yeah, I haven't been to a good chicken swap in a while. I think they stopped doing the one here locally that was a good one. Maybe not. They may pick it back up in the summer. Silver Creek Wildlife says, my mayor might be buying quail from me. He owns a feed store out in the sticks and wants to add survival meat birds to his store. Well, there you go. That's a good idea. Andy says, any concerns about the bird flu? Not from me. I don't really worry about that kind of stuff. I hear it on the news, and, you know, if it comes, it comes, but I'm not really too worried about it. I think it's just an excuse for them to raise egg prices or something anyway. Silver Creek says he already gets quail eggs, and I use them as store credit for the something. I got to wait for it to scroll up so I can read the rest of that because there's a big heart icon right in the way. It's like the little, I don't know how to get rid of that. I can't. We'll see. Anyway. Oh, that was all of it. Already gets quail eggs, and I use them as store credits for the stead. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I wish I had something to use for store credits for animal feed. That would be awesome. So congratulations there. I did know the guy I buy my rabbit feed from, he says that his son got into raising quail and was watching my videos. So, I mean, he didn't give me any credit, but, you know, that's all right. So much joy says we've had our sheep for a few years and they're doing great. We have hair sheep. Would like a wool breed though. Yeah, I don't know enough about sheep, so I can't really comment on that. But you said Dorper and Katahdin. I don't know what that is. I don't know anything about those. But yeah, I'm glad they're doing well. Silver Creek says he wanted to charge $10 a dozen. I told him not for me. Do it for $6 to make them more available to everyone. Yep, that works. I did see an ad the other day at a restaurant, actually. Somebody had an ad, like it was a stick on the wall kind of ad for, like, they were selling all kinds of animal, chicken, eggs, and all that, but they had quail eggs too, and it was $6 a dozen for quail eggs. I don't know if they get any business, but I thought at $6 a dozen, man, I'd sell a ton of quail eggs. David Lister says, we're incubating chicken eggs. Our environment is not that different from yours, Chris. How long should we leave them under heat? Chicken eggs? I don't know. What's the gestation on a chicken egg? Let me do a quick search here and see what it says. It's not really about the environment. It's still, it looks like day 19, day 20. You put them into lockdown, and they should start hatching out in about 2 days after that. So they're only really about a day or two behind quail. Blessed with Pet says, heading out to check the buns. Well, good luck. Hopefully you have a litter of baby rabbits. Silver Creek Wildlife says, I got into quail because of you, 100%. Aw, well, thanks. I'm glad that, I hope that's a good thing anyway. Someone Terry says, to get rid of the heart, go into the edit page for the live and go to customize, uncheck live reactions. Oh, there you go. Okay. I should do that, shouldn't I? Silver Creek Wildlife says our central market charges almost $20 a dozen for quail eggs. $20 a dozen? That's ridiculous. Oh, that's what you said too. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So Interior says 21. Gumbo Galahad says 21. I don't know. What are those? 21. Is it $21? What is that 21? What are you responding to? Blessed with Pet says our uncle's cow keeps escaping. Our whole yard smells like boo-boo. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Good fertilizer, I suppose. Jacob Wolf says, if someone's buying rabbits from me, how much transition feed should I include and send with them? They'll be 8 weeks old when sold. You know, I never do that, actually. I never send feed with them, but it's not a bad idea. I'd give them maybe just at least a couple of days worth and tell them if they're buying a different brand or a different kind of food or plan on feeding them something different, to introduce that slowly, kind of mix it in just a little bit at a time over the next couple of days before transitioning over to it. But I never do that. I never worry about it too much. David says, sorry, after hatching, how long should they stay under heat? Okay. Now I'm with you. Duh. I should have understood that. I'm sorry. So you're wondering how long you need to keep them in the brooder. Well, it's pretty much like quail. You're going to look at, depends on your chickens too and how fast they're growing. With the Cornish cross, usually it's about 2 weeks roughly. I started lowering they're going on 5 days old now. I think I got them last Thursday. So, they're 6 days old right now. No, 7 days old. And I've got them down to 90 degrees. Tomorrow, well, probably the day after tomorrow, I'll lower it down to about 85, see how they do, and then down to 80. And then I'll just keep working it down. It'll probably take me another week to get them down to, in the 60-degree range, and get them off the heat after that. So I know that's not a real clear, like, keep them this long. It depends a little bit on your outside environment, like you said. But in a couple of weeks, we're probably going to be pretty decent temperatures, and just keep them about 100 degrees for the first week, and then start lowering it down about 5 degrees a day if you can. And whenever you get it to where it's about like what it is outside, they're fine. So Much Joy says, we rotate animals in the pasture with electric fencing. We move the paddock every couple of days. No hay bales, more natural to graze. Hay in pole barn for winter, though. Yeah, that sounds like the way to do it. If you're going to do it, that's the way to do it. Oh, so Terry says chicken days is 21. Gotcha. 21 days to hatch. Okay. Billy Grass says, let's see. Wow, I changed feed like Chris told me. That starter feed got them laying, or my pep talk started dropping eggs, or I'm dropping y'all in hot cooking oil. I'm going with the feed change. LOL. So you changed the feed like we were talking about to starter feed. I remember discussing that. And you got them laying, but you're not sure if it was the feed or you're threatening to drop them in the hot cooking oil, huh? Well, either way, they're laying now, so I'm glad to hear that. So and Tear says, similar to quail, their reactions to the heat and depends on the temperature. I think we did a month. A month seems like a long time, but I mean, yeah, it's better to be sure, I guess. I kind of rush mine. I rush my quail too, though. So, usually by the time in the summertime, especially, my quail are in the outside hutch by 3 weeks old. Les with Pets says waiting sucks. She puts all the hay in her box. No fur pulling yet. Well, give her some time. I mean, most of my rabbits don't pull fur until like right after they have their babies. So nothing to worry about there. Give her some time. So Much Joy says our chicken quit laying a while back. Roosters weren't even crowing. Realized it was the brand of feed. Switched to a new brand, and now we're getting 60 to 75 a day. Sometimes feed can have a big impact on them. Jacob Wolf wants to know what brand of fencing you recommend. He says, I'm looking at Premier One and Starkline. We'll see. And you say, So Much Joy says, bought from Premier One. Highly recommend looking into the School of Traditional Skills. I don't know what that is right offhand, but sounds interesting. Vicky says, just got back from a week in Texas to watch the total eclipse. All the quail eggs are being boiled for pickled cowboy candy pickle eggs. Okay, I don't like pickled eggs, actually. I've tried them. I've tried to pickle eggs several different ways, and I have not found a way that I like them yet. But who knows? So and Tara says, I always use Pesola, Pesola scales for weighing small animals. Are there any fish scales that are analog that are around 10 pounds instead of 50 pounds? 50 is what I'm seeing online. I don't know, honestly. I bought a cheap fish scale years ago because I do a lot of fishing. I very seldom ever weigh a fish, and it's digital. It's not analog. I very seldom weigh fish, but I bought it at the time, and it was cheap. I bought it at like Walmart. I don't even know what brand it is, and I wouldn't say it's all that great. So I really don't know on a good brand to recommend for you. Jamin Mike's here. He says, hey, all. Got the 30-minute notification. Not the other. Uh-oh. Well, I'm glad you made it. We got like 20 minutes left. Let's see what that was coming in on my phone. Oh, nothing important. It can wait. Bob Cole, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And again, we're slow on the chat. We got 48 people here, 38 likes. We're doing pretty good. So, and Tara says, how does the digital work when the animal is moving around? Does it take the weight automatically, or does it just read it when you think it's still? That's a good question. I didn't have, when I put them in a bag, they don't move around a whole lot. They kind of pretty much stay still. And I usually wait till they quit squirming before I even hang it on there. So I'm not really sure. I think it's probably going to bounce around a little bit if they're moving. That's a good question, though. We'll see. Vicky says, Chris, if you haven't enjoyed pickled quail or pickled eggs, try the cowboy candy version. Yeah, I might. I don't know. I'm not sure it's worth it, honestly. I've tried several different varieties, and I've never found one I liked. G. Michael says, hey, Chris, question. What's a decent, comfortable length of time between rabbit breedings so not to get overwhelmed for a newbie who wants to raise rabbits for meat? Oh, boy, that's that's a hard question to answer because everybody's a little bit different. When you're talking about time between rabbit breedings, you can breed pretty intensely. Like you can breed your rabbit like about 2 weeks after they've had their current litter. And that gives you, when the rabbits are 6 weeks old, you basically move them off into their own pen. So you're giving her just, like a couple of, maybe a week, or she's about ready to have her babies at that point, I like to really kind of wait. I usually wait until I've moved my rabbits off at 6 weeks, and then I'll rebreed if I'm going to rebreed right then. And then, I'll rebreed her at that point. So basically I've got rabbits. So she's going to have, if I'm moving my rabbits off at 6 weeks old or 8 weeks old or whatever time I do it, and I rebreed her at that point, she's got like 4 weeks without babies before she has, babies again. So I kind of like to do it that way just to give her a little bit of a break. But honestly, more intense breeding can sometimes be a little bit better if you want bigger litters and more, if you want meat production and you can handle it, I mean, there's no reason you can't breed more intensely. I really don't like the idea of trying to breed 2 weeks after she's had her babies. I think I wouldn't go any earlier than about 4 weeks. That would give her at least 2 weeks without them before she has another litter. There's Emma Ball, says hello to everybody. Good to see you. So and Tara says, that's why I'm looking for analog. Well, I understand. Sorry, I can't give you a good recommendation for that. I haven't tried it, but TM wants to know, have you ever tried to make mayonnaise with quail eggs? Just curious. I have never done. I've actually never made mayonnaise. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't go through that much mayo that it's really worth making my own, I don't think. I like mayo. I mean, if I'm going to have a sandwich, I prefer mayo on it than, mustard, but I just don't go through that much mayo. I don't know. Has anybody else tried making mayo out of quail eggs? I'm sure they'd do just fine. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I don't know if anybody else has done it. Probably take a whole lot of them. I have made deviled eggs out of the quail eggs, though. Those are really good. And everybody's super impressed when you come with these little tiny bite-sized quail eggs. Buck says 2 weeks that will breed back. Easier rabbits wants to breed every month. Yeah, there is some benefit to more intensive breeding than what I do. It does make your does, tends to make your does, not always, but it does tend to make your does a little bit more responsive and a little bit more willing to breed. So there is some good to that if you want to do it that way. G. Michael says, follow-up question to breeders. What months or seasons do you not breed your rabbits? I don't breed mine in the heat of summer. So really from about June through September. July, really. July through September, I don't breed. I let them take the summer off. It's just too hot, and I don't want to put them through that. Vicky says, have you made pasta with quail eggs? I'm trying it with duck egg yolks this weekend, and maybe I'll have to give it a try with quail eggs later. No, I have not. I've also never made pasta. I don't eat that much pasta, so it's one of those things that, I mean, I could do it, I suppose, but I've never done it, so. So and Tara says, double-decker deviled eggs are more impressive. Quail on top of a chicken. Quail on top of chicken. That seems like too much at one bite, I don't know. Maybe not. TM wants to know how the chickens are doing. They're doing great. They are growing, getting bigger. Everything's going fine. Haven't lost any yet. Verna says, in my cookbook, there are recipes for pasta using quail eggs. There you go. So and Tara says quail egg pasta is good. I'm sure it would be. I don't see why it'd be any different than any other pasta. I'm actually not one of those people that I like pasta just fine, but it's not one of the, like, everybody's like, oh, pasta. And I'm just kind of like, it's pasta. I'd rather have the sauce than the pasta, honestly, but the pasta is just a vehicle to get the sauce to me, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm the same way with bread. I don't need a ton of bread. And bread's like a filler to me. It's like, if there's not enough other stuff to eat and I'm still hungry, then I'll eat some bread. But other than that, I could do without the bread. Emma says, can I share some good news with you guys? No, we don't want to hear good news. I'm just kidding. Of course you can share good news. You don't have to ask that one. Emma says, oh, wait. Dragon Girl says, sorry, I'm late. That's okay. You know the deal. We don't keep attendance. Glad you're here. Okay, so Emma says, her good news. I entered my birds into a quail show here in the UK, and 3 of my birds placed. They came in third, and second. So happy about it and wanted to share my news. Well, that is awesome. What kind of bird show was that? I've never heard of it. And I'm assuming you're talking quail? I don't know. I didn't know there was such a show. That's pretty interesting. G. Michael says, question, what's the longest you would go without breeding a doe? I don't know. I mean, a year maybe. But honestly, if you want to keep your does breeding, you need to breed them more frequently than that. I really would try not to go more than about 4 or 5 months at the most. Emma says, thanks, Chris. Thanks, So and Tara. Well, you're absolutely welcome. Jacob says to G. Michael Jr., unfortunately, with our fair in September, I'll be breeding Memorial Day weekend for 4-H projects for the kids. I'm in Ohio, where it can get really hot, so I'm concerned about the heat. Yeah, let me let me just tell you, you're like, I'm in Ohio where it can get really hot. It gets really hot everywhere. I mean, unless you're like way up north, it gets really hot everywhere. It's the same. When I lived in Texas, people in Texas thought, well, they're so much different than everywhere else, right? They would come out, like I'd be on break at work and they come out, man, it's hot out here. I bet you wish you were back in Missouri today. And I no, it's hotter in Missouri than it is here today. And they didn't believe me. I'd have to pull up the temperature and be like, look, it's 5 degrees hotter there. Oh, well, you don't have the humidity. Well, it's like 75% humidity, you know. But yeah, it's not really that much different from place to place. The big difference is really the amount of time. Like Texas, it does stay hot longer, but it doesn't get any hotter. It gets just as hot here. There are some exceptions to that, but for the most part, it gets pretty hot everywhere in the summertime. And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to pick on you. I didn't mean it that way. Andy thinks that warm weather-born rabbits are the best, in my opinion. They may be. I just always feel so bad for the doe. I mean, they already struggle in the heat anyway, and having to be pregnant during that time, I just feel sorry for them, so I take the summer off. I focus more on quail in the summer, more on rabbits in the fall and the winter. Jacob says, Chris, I'm more concerned because this is my first time breeding in the summer. I initially planned to take the summer off like you. Yeah, don't stress about it too much. I mean, as long as your rabbits are in the shade, in a well-ventilated area, they're going to do okay. It's not that big of a deal. I'm still kind of curious what kind of bird show that was, Emma. I've never heard of such a thing. Didn't even know there were bird shows. Maybe it's just a UK thing. I don't know. Yeah, Verna's saying just do your best to Jacob. Just do your best. The rabbits will take care of the rest. Yeah, that's pretty much the case. They're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Billy Glass says, yes, Emma, do tell. Yeah, what kind of bird show was it? Andy says, I like to breed in late May to... I don't know. I like to breed in late May to June for the kits to grow out in the heat. To mid-June, I think it is. Yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that. David wants to know what type of quail they were, Emma. Jacob says, I used to get my 4-H rabbits frozen pop bottles or 2 liters to lay against. Changed out twice daily. You know, I tried that for a little while with my rabbits, freezing 2-liter bottles and swapping them out, and they didn't really use them at all. It didn't seem to make, like, I never saw one laying up against them. They always just kind of ignored them. So I just kind of gave up on that. Figured it didn't really matter. Emma says, oh, thanks for the congrats, guys. You have shows here in the U.S. Check out. Hang on a second. I got to wait for somebody else to comment so it scrolls up so I can see past that stupid icon over there. Because the comments are down at the bottom of the page. Oh, I guess I can't do that. That won't work. I could pop that out, couldn't I? Anyway, it doesn't matter. There we go. Check out Pips and Chicks. She runs one online until she can get them in poultry shows. Interesting. I've never heard of that. I'll check it out. Pips and Chicks poultry show. There it is. What do you know? I'll check that out a little bit later. Yeah, poultry and quail show. Interesting. Andy says, I don't use frozen bottles either. So much Joy says, I figured the breed September to March or April to not worry about Nelly kindling in the summer. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thought on it too, but you know, there's lots of people that breed all year long and they do just fine. You can definitely do it. Jacob says, I also would put a light colored tile in their cage too that they can lay on or against. They like that too. Yeah, I do keep tiles in there. It's a light colored tile, and yeah, they do lay on that. They do enjoy that, and that does help, I'm sure. But the frozen water bottles didn't do anything. Andy Rabbit says, I don't know why they put the heart down there. It's so annoying. Yeah, well, usually it doesn't bother me, but sometimes when the chat's a little bit slow and I'm getting to the end of it, it's like the last chat, the very last one on the list. I can't read it all because that heart thing's in the way. Verna says, raising my animals inside without air conditioning. I only use a fan pointed at the ceiling. Yeah, that would be tough, wouldn't it? Billy Glass says, Chris, we all learned something tonight. Yeah, we learn something every day, don't we? Oh, yeah, so much joy saying this, or same thing. You learn something new every day, pretty much. And says that I have white tiles in every cage. Yeah, I keep them in there too. Emma says a small Facebook group did an online comp here in UK. That's what I entered. I will be teaming up with the president of the ACBA to bring Copernicus shows to the UK too. What is the ACBA? I don't know what that is. Sounds like a British rock band. I'm going to try to look it up while I'm waiting on some responses. That's probably not it. ACBA comes up as Allegheny County Bar Association. I doubt that's it. Or American College of Building Arts. Probably not it. We'll see what you have to say. I'll let you answer it for me instead of Googling it. Oh, American Copernicus Breeders Association. I should have known that. Interesting. So much joy says, I have mine in 2 barn stalls. I do have a few. Well, I do have a fan set up for extreme August afternoons if it has been 100 plus for a few days. Interesting. So yeah, if you're keeping them in barn stalls, that makes sense. I don't ever mess with putting fans on my rabbits. I just keep them in an area that's pretty well ventilated. I lift the tarps up. They're in a shaded area. They got a bunch of tree cover so the sun never hits them directly, and they do fine. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt to have some fans. I wouldn't blow the fans directly on them. Just blow it to where it has a breeze over the cage, not right on the animals necessarily. Jacob Wolf says, I'm hoping to go to the Ohio Rabbit Breeders Association convention and show my first weekend of May. I hope to learn a thing or two. I've been considering joining the ARBA. Yeah, I've never gotten into showing rabbits or anything, but it might be interesting. Good luck if you do it. Andy Rabbit says, my fan is just to move the air so it doesn't get stale. Yep. So much joy says, learning a lot tonight. Thanks, y'all. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody in here is great. That is a great thing. We have a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of regulars that come in here every week. I don't know everything. I mean, contrary to popular belief, I don't know it all. I know that's not the belief, but we have almost always have somebody that can answer your question here, whether it's me or somebody else. G. Michael wants to know how the meat chickens are doing. I guess I need to do more video on that. It's the 3rd time somebody's asked, but they are doing great. Growing out, no problems. I haven't lost a single one yet. I got them down to about 90 degrees, acclimated to the 90-degree temperature, and got them out on the wire in the brooder box on nothing but wire. That was a little bit the first day. I pulled all the paper towels out after, not the first day, but put them out there, put paper towels down initially. And then, of course, it gets messy pretty quick. So I pulled them out. I pulled about half of them out. They all moved over to the side of paper towels. Pulled another piece of it out, and there was just one little chunk of paper towel left. And all the birds were crammed on that one little chunk of paper towel. They did not want to walk on the wire. But now they're used to it, and they're fine. Gumbo Galahad said, do quail need a shady space? Yeah, it's always best. Always best keep them out of the direct sun if you can avoid it. Don't have them. No animal wants to sit in direct sun. I mean, I guess there are some, but for the most part, you want to provide them with shade. Keep them in a shady spot where they're not getting hit with direct sunlight, and that's going to help keep them a little bit cooler. G. Michael says, question, how batches of meat chickens do you process each year? Usually just do one. I mean, we could do multiples, but yeah, for the most part, we just do one. TM says, I hope you have the freezer space for all those chickens. Well, my sister's got half of them. So my sister and I go in on the chickens. She wants chickens for her family too. So I raise them. She gives me, pays me for half of them, and she takes half of them. But still, yeah, we got plenty of freezer space right now. So much joy says we try to have 50 birds in the freezer this year. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, TM says you might want to stagger out their harvest. We probably will. That's a good point, too. And we kind of planned on maybe doing that. All right, guys. Well, it is right up 8 o'clock. It's time to wrap this one up. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hopefully you, oh, and so and Tara says canning meat is something wonderful. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I just have a weird thing about canned meat. I should get over it. I know. But anyway, let's wrap it up. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. As always, good to hang out with you. And I should be back next Thursday. I don't see any reason why I won't be. We'll see you guys then. And until then, God bless.